Buongiorno a tutti, benvenuti a questo nuovo webinar. Per chi non mi conoscesse, io sono Giorgia Balbis, Technical and Sales Specialist in ActiveBox e oggi ho il piacere di poter condurre questo webinar con Senkyu Chong, che è CTO, direttore tecnico di Incospharm. Hi, Senkyu.
Hi, everyone.
Thank you for coming here today, and I'm very glad to manage with you this webinar. If you want, you can now introduce yourself to our customer. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. It's my great pleasure to have a chance to introduce Incospharm's technology and cosmetic ingredients to you all. Thank you again for your interest in our company and technology as well. I'd like to briefly introduce our ingredients and underlying technologies in this session, and I sincerely hope that you can understand the technologies and its potential benefits for your development of new cosmetics. Thank you again.
Thank you, Senkyu. Ecco, il webinar di oggi vuole essere non solo una presentazione di nuovi attivi che ActiveBox vi propone, ma anche proprio la presentazione ufficiale di questa nuova partnership tra ActiveBox e Incospharm. Incospharm è un'azienda coreana specializzata dal 2011 ecco, nello studio e nella realizzazione di ingredienti che hanno come target specifico un meccanismo biologico che è quello dell'autofagia, che vedremo nel dettaglio tra poco. E Incospharm ha proprio una library di 300 attivi sia per la filiera cosmetica che in realtà poi anche per quella farmaceutica, grazie proprio al fatto che hanno studiato proprio questa interazione con questo meccanismo d'azione. Partiamo dal principio, quindi che cos'è l'autofagia? L'autofagia è un meccanismo biologico, fisiologico, che avviene all'interno di tutte le cellule e che serve proprio per la cellula per andare a degradare gli organelli e le sostanze che sono diventate ormai disfunzionali. E questo è possibile grazie al fatto che a un certo punto, a seguito di stimoli esterni e a seguito di, ad esempio, anche un segnale di mancanza di nutrienti, all'interno della cellula si forma un autofagosoma che consente proprio di andare a fagocitare questi organelli disfunzionali. E poi questo autofagosoma ecco, si fonde con il lisosoma che contiene gli enzimi e dopodiché tutti questi organelli da degradare verranno poi espulsi nel citosol sotto forma di macromolecole, di proteine, scusate, no, volevo dire di macromolecole di elementi essenziali, che poi verranno riutilizzati dalla cellula. Ecco, quindi si parla proprio di riciclo cellulare per questo motivo. E nuova energia che verrà appunto riutilizzata. L'autofagia quindi è assolutamente un processo altamente conservato e altamente regolato e come possiamo ben capire è essenziale per la sopravvivenza cellulare ma anche proprio per la differenziazione, per lo sviluppo e per l'omeostasi della cellula. L'autofagia ecco, è diventata un target soprattutto negli ultimi 2 decenni per quanto riguarda gli studi, tant'è che appunto nel 2016 Oshinori Osumi, questo professore, ha vinto il premio Nobel per la medicina nel 2016 e proprio grazie ai suoi studi ecco, incentrati proprio sul riciclo cellulare. Mettendo quindi in evidenza come effettivamente l'autofagia e il fatto che la sua disfunzione ecco, possa essere poi in realtà alla base di numerose problematiche per la salute, anche piuttosto importanti quali infezioni, infiammazioni, processi neurodegenerativi come l'Alzheimer ad esempio, disordini metabolici e alcuni tipi di tumori. Partendo da questo background, ecco, Incospharm ha voluto studiare in maniera approfondita l'interazione, il ruolo dell'autofagia a livello della cute. Quindi come possiamo vedere da questa slide, l'autofagia è in grado di andare un po' a regolare, a permettere il corretto funzionamento di tutte le funzioni della pelle. Quindi funzione di permeabilità epidermica, integrità di barriera, UV protection e anche sistema immunitario. Quindi tutti questi attori, queste cellule che fanno parte, no, di tutte le funzioni dell'epidermide sono regolate dal sistema autofagico ed è molto importante che questo venga mantenuto in omeostasi proprio per garantire queste funzioni. Quindi anche dal punto di vista cosmetico è importante che noi andiamo a utilizzare, ecco, principi attivi specifici come quelli che ci mostrerà tra poco Sekiu, che hanno come target proprio l'autofagia. Proprio perché l'autofagia ci consente alle cellule di andare a degradare queste sostanze disfunzionali che si accumulano e che appunto possono determinare infiammazione ed essere poi alla base di varie patologie, problematiche a livello cutaneo. Quindi ecco, tra poco lascerò la parola a Sekiu che ci presenterà questi ingredienti. Volevo ecco sottolineare, anticipare solamente questa cosa, che il primo peptide che loro hanno realizzato si chiama Aquatide ed è quello che trovate in alto sulla destra per il cellular anti-aging. Loro sono rimasti talmente impressionati dall'attività di Aquatide sulla stimolazione del sistema autofagico che poi hanno deciso di estendere gli studi e appunto da lì sono nati tutti gli altri ingredienti che vediamo al di sotto, quindi adiposol per l'UV protection, melatretein invece per quanto riguarda lo skin brightening, cabelludin per lo scalp anti-aging, sebodulin come anti-acne e serenitide per la pelle sensibile. Hanno creato un vero e proprio database, che è questo MPID database, che appunto è il diminutivo di Autophagy Modulating Peptide Derivatives Technology. E oltre a ciò appunto hanno poi ampliato, adesso qua vediamo un summary di questi MPD ingredients che vi dicevo prima, quindi che derivano da Aquatide, che hanno tutti come target lo stimolo dell'autofagia, ecco, più altre determinate funzioni, in modo tale da andare un po' a coprire tutte le problematiche, tutti i target cosmetici per quanto riguarda la pelle ovviamente. E hanno ampliato, vi dicevo, il database anche con altri ingredienti, tra cui ingredienti di derivazione naturale e in particolare oggi Senkyu, oltre ai peptidi della precedente slide, quindi gli IMPED ingredient, andrà a presentarci anche Hybrid Peptide Bio e Biopec. Tra l'altro, ecco, se volete scaricare la brochure di Incospharm la trovate nella dashboard sulla destra fino alla fine del webinar. Adesso lascio la parola a Sekiu che appunto inizierà a presentarci i suoi attivi. So Sekiu, is your turn. If you want, you can start with your explanation and you can start with Aquatide. Thank you.
Thank you for your nice introduction. Well, I quite don't understand the exact total terms, but still it sounds very nice. So let me start with the Aquatide, the first peptide ingredient for autophagy action for the cosmetic purposes. So from the Aquatide, we established our MPID technology, and for these ingredients, we just summarize its activity for liver sensing by autophagy activation, and also we could find out that it has a skin barrier enhancing activity by ceramide biosynthesis. So basically, the mode of action of aquatide is based on the action of aquatide on the sortin-1 protein. The sortin-1 protein is a core protein for the autophagy signaling in cells, and activation of sortin-1 protein by aquatide can stimulate the autophagy signaling in various kinds of skin cells, including epidermal keratinocyte. So through this autophagy activation property, aquatide can stimulate the cellular antioxidant system and it stimulate the expressions of many antioxidant proteins in cells, including periredoxins, T-cell proteins, and other things. So through stimulating the antioxidant proteins, it performs and enhances the cellular antioxidant system. Also, by activating the autophagy signaling through the sortin-1 activation, aquatide also stimulates the ceramide synthesis in keratinocyte. As you can see in the lower right panel, the ceramide contents by the cells was increased by the aquatide treatment, and its mode of action is based on the activation of ceramide synthase, especially ceramide synthase 2 and 3 by the aquatide treatment. So based on these basic researches, we further found out that aquatide can protect the oxidative damages induced by UV or chemical oxidative stress, such as hydrogen peroxide. As you can see in the upper left panel, hydrogen peroxide induced cytotoxicity was rescued by aquatide treatment, and those effect was abolished by the chloroquine, which is a well-known autophagy inhibitor, suggesting that aquatide performs the oxidative damage protecting activity through the autophagy activations. From the clinical studies, we also confirmed the antioxidant effects of aquatide. As you can see here, we recruited 22 volunteers and asked them to use aquatide containing products for 8 weeks. And before and after, we collected their skin cells by tape stripping and stained them with the specific techniques for confirming the expressions amount of carbohydrate proteins, which is an oxidative damage marker in skin cells. As you can see here, represented by the green fluorescence, the intensity of green fluorescence was reduced only in aquatide applied site, which suggests that the oxidative damage reduction activity of aquatide is also evident in clinical setting. Through the antioxidant effects, we could also confirm that aquatide application can induce skin anti-aging effects, such as increasing the skin firmness, and also, as I mentioned in my previous slide, the skin barrier function was also enhanced and improved by the aquatide applications. So the increase of ceramide, especially the ultra-long chain conjugated ceramide, was observed even in clinical settings. So these kinds of clinical efficacy can provide the aquatide action on enhancing the skin's natural defense against environmental damages such as UV or chemical oxidant. So we claims and we suggest that aquatide can be a base ingredient for all kinds of anti-aging cosmetics and also for the basic skincare cosmetics. So it has a very novel mode of actions for, say, activation of autophagy. It can provide additional or even some synergistic benefits to the other conventional active ingredients used for the anti-aging cosmetics and other basic cosmetics. And also, from the series of studies, we could confirm that the aquatide has a very high safety profile. So again, it is very ideal for daily use anti-aging cosmetics. Here's the ingredient information, including inking informations and the recommended application as a base ingredient for skincare products and sensitive skincare and anti-aging cosmetics. And we recommend to use for 2% for immersion type or essence type products and 0.01% to 0.5% for mask sheet type products. Georgia, please.
Ok, sì, thank you. Just a short comment. Sì, allora, quello che volevo sottolineare con questo ingrediente, quindi con Aquatide, sicuramente c'è un'azione anti-aging, ecco perché, come abbiamo visto, come ci ha spiegato Sekyu, si lega a queste Sear 2-in-1, e quindi poi abbiamo anche stimolo autofagico, quindi sicuramente tutta un'azione anti-aging, antiossidante, ma ecco anche un'azione benefica per una pelle sensibile, proprio perché c'è anche stimolazione della sintesi delle ceramidi e quindi ovviamente si va a rinforzare la barriera cutanea. In più può appunto essere anche associato a altri ingredienti diciamo per l'anti-aging. Ok, thank you. Go on please with the other ingredient.
Then we expanded our MP technology to developing new ingredients for the UV protection. So for that purposes, we studied the effects of UV on skins and the potential target for the development, and found out that the adiponectin, one of the adipokine proteins released by, mainly released by the adipocyte, is a potential target for the UV protection, because it was reported that this adiponectin protein can protect the UV-induced skin damages, and also it is released by the dermal fibroblast as well. So our goal was to develop new ingredients for stimulating autophagy and also stimulating the expression of adiponectin proteins in the skin cell. So we could find out that the newly developed adipose ingredients can induce these dual actions for effective anti-UV protection. So UV-induced skin damages mainly mediated by the oxidative stress and the generation of reactive oxygen species. And these reactive oxygen species can induce the expressions of collagen-degrading enzymes and also inflammatory signals. So from the basic researches, we could find out that adiposol, the newly ingredient anti-UV ingredients, can stimulate the signaling of autophagy in cells, as you can see in the upper right panel. Upper left panel, the green fluorescence indicating the activation of autophagy signaling in cells were more intense in adipose-treated cells. Also, adiposol induced the expression of adiponectin, represented by the green fluorescence from the cytoplasmic area of the adipose-treated cells. So both stimulating the autophagy activation and inducing adiponectin expressions can prevent the UV-induced skin damages, such as cellular damages by reactive oxygen species, and also collagen degradation by MMP1 expressions. And also, the autophagy activation can induce the anti-inflammatory responses. So all these kinds of activities against the UV-induced skin damages suggest that the adiposol is a potential anti-UV ingredients. So in the right panel, you can see the basic research data that adiposol treatment can reduce the MMP1 or the collagen-degrading enzyme expressions, and also induce the synthesis of collagens by the skin cells, and also the reduction of inflammatory cytokines by the skin cells. So from the 3D culture models, we could confirm that the increased expression of MMP1 after UV radiation, represented by the increased brownish colors in the dermal area was reduced after adipose treatment. And also, muscle striatum staining for collagen identification suggests that the reduced amount of collagens in dermal area was reversed by the adipose treatment, suggested by the intense, more higher color, blue color in the dermal areas. And from the clinical studies, we could find out that the adiposal application can prevent the UV-induced skin damages indicated by the erythema generations. As you can see here, compared to the Baker applied site, the adiposal applied site show less erythema formation after UVB exposure. So the erythema index measurement confirms the photographic result. And interesting data is that even the MED or minimal erythema dose can be increased by the adiposal treatment. So as you can see here, we recruited 13 participants and asked them to use 100 ppm of adiposal formulation twice a day for 2 weeks and measure the MED value before and after adiposal applications. And as a result, we could find out that the MED value was increased by the 56.2%. I'm sorry, just a moment. Okay. So as for the adiposal studies, we suggest that it has a dual action against UV damages. So basically, it can boost the skin's anti-UV capacity, and also it can relieve the UV in the skin damages. And because it's a peptide type ingredient, it has a very higher compatibility with other various types of cosmetics, such as immersion, sunscreens, mask sheet sprays, and etc. And also it is applicable to the sun protection products and also after sun care products. So here is the ingredient information here, and we recommend for the sun protection products and after sun care products. And we recommend the dosage of 1 to 2% for both sun protection and after sun care products. Georgia, please.
Thank you. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Sì, ecco, la particolarità di questo prodotto risiede proprio nel fatto che è in grado di essere un booster, quindi da utilizzare, ecco, un booster di protezione da utilizzare nei prodotti solari. Come abbiamo visto, no? Questi sono tutti gli studi che ha mostrato Secchio poco fa. E in realtà però può essere utilizzato anche in prodotti sun care, after sun care, scusate, dopo sole, quindi prodotti che vanno a lenire ecco, i danni causati dai raggi UV, proprio grazie alla sua azione antinfiammatoria, quindi di riuscire ad agire, ecco, su eritemi o comunque su arrossamenti in generale. Okay, please, thank you.
Mm-hmm. The next one is melatropin as a skin brightening ingredients with the dual mode of actions. So basically, unlike the conventional skin brightening ingredient targeting the melanocyte or melanogenesis, melatropin targeting two kinds of actions only on keratinocyte. The first one is melatropin 1, and it's a part 2 inhibitor for blocking the melanosome transport from melanocyte into keratinocyte. So through these melatropin 1 actions, we can prevent the pigmentation of skin by the melanosome transport. And also we added melatropin 2, which is an autophagy activator for the accelerated melanin degradation. So once the melanin is transported into the keratinocyte, stimulating autophagy process can accelerate the degradation of melanosome in keratinocyte. So from this graph, you can see that when we treated 25 microgram of melanosome to keratinocyte, in non-treated cells, there are about 16 micrograms within the cells and 8.4 micrograms outside the cell. Then 0.9 micrograms degraded. But when we treated menatrepine, containing menatrepine 1 and menatrepine 2, the inside amount of intercellular amount of melanosome is quite decreased, suggesting that the melanosome uptake is blocked, and also even the uptaken melanosome is degraded, and the extracellular amount of melanosome is quite increased, nearly double-fold, suggesting that the melanosome transport or uptake is blocked. So from this graph, we can confirm that menatrepine has two modes of actions, and these modes of actions are targeting only keratinocyte, not melanocyte. So with the 3D culture models, melanodome models, we could verify that the menatrepine application can actual lightening of skin surface colors compared to the vehicle-treated tissues, and H&E staining and Fontana-Masse staining confirms that the reduced amount of melanosomes in the melanodome tissues. And also from the clinical study performed on melasma participant having melasma, the improvement of skin color was evident and significantly higher in menatrepine applied site. Importantly, as I mentioned earlier, menatrepine does not have any effect on melanocyte or melanogenesis. So we, through these in vitro and ex vivo studies, we could confirm that the melanogenesis itself was not affected by the menatrepine application, suggesting that menatrepine is very safe compared to the other conventional ingredients commonly targeting melanocyte or melanogenesis. So because menatrepine is a combination of two skin brightening ingredients, per se proto-antagonist and autophagy activator, it could perform two kinds of actions on, for the skin brightening. Firstly, blocking the pigment transport and then preventing the skin pigmentation. Secondly, activating autophagy signals for accelerating the pigment removal or degradation. And because of combination of these two ingredients, we can modify their compositions for the specific purposes. For example, if you want to develop new products for focusing on prevention of skin pigmentation, then you may increase the proportion of proto-antagonists in this menatrepine combination. And if you want to develop new products for the skin brightening, per se removal of hyperpigmented skins, then you can increase the proportion of autophagy activator. So it is surely adjustable for the specific purposes. And also, it does not have any impact on melanocyte function and viability. It is very safe for as a skin brightening products. Here is inky information. There are two peptides ingredients in menatrepine, and hexandiol and aqua is also included. So we recommend for the skin brightening products, and we recommend 1 to 2% for immersion type products and 0.1 to 1% for mask shape type products. Giulia, please.
Okay. Sì, giusto un piccolo summary di menatrepine. Il prodotto, appunto, come avete capito, agisce in maniera un po' differente rispetto ai classici whitening, nel senso che grazie appunto alla combinazione di questi due peptidi abbiamo un'azione in particolare sui melanosomi e non va a intaccare il melanocita, nel senso che appunto si ha una stimolazione, il primo peptide va a stimolare, ecco, l'autofagia e quindi l'eliminazione dei melanosomi che si sono accumulati a livello dei cheratinociti, invece l'altro peptide va a contrastare, ecco, il trasporto dei melanosomi tra il melanocita e il cheratinocita. Quindi a differenza degli altri whitening non si va a intaccare, ecco, la melanogenesi, quindi non si ha interferenza con la tirosinasi e così via. E questo ovviamente si traduce in un ingrediente particolarmente safe, quindi che non ha azioni citotossiche, non può dare problematiche come ipopigmentazioni o simili, ecco, come effetto avverso. Okay, please, thank you. You can start with the other ingredients.
Okay, so next one is Evergreen for the problematic skins or acne skins. So Evergreen is a autophagy activating ingredient targeting the sebocyte or sebum formating cells in skin. So unlike the conventional anti-acne ingredients with the severe skin drying effects or some kinds of adverse effects, Sevodolin helps to restore the healthy hydrolipidic film on skins through the autophagy actions, as well as the anti-inflammatory activity against the acne microbes. So in this center panel, you can see the major pathophysiologic factors for the acne. So increased excessive sebum formation induced the skin barrier abnormality in the follicular infrandibulum area, and abdominal cartilagation is also induced by the excessive sebum formations. Then the Cutibacterium acne or acne microbes increased within the follicular areas and sebaceous glands as well, then induced inflammations and ultimately scar formations. So for the development of anti-acne ingredients, many kinds of conventional ingredients addressing sebum formations or antimicrobial activity against Cutibacterium acnes. But Sevodolin, through the action on autophagy signaling in the sebum generating cells and the keratinocyte cells, can restore and reduce the sebum formations within the sebocyte cells, and also recover the abdominal keratinization into normal ones, and also the inflammatory responses by the acne microbes can be relieved by the Sevodolin application. So as you can see here in the left panel, the increased sebogenesis indicated by the green fluorescence within the cell body is blocked and abolished by the Sevodolin treatment, suggesting that the Sevodolin can downregulate the sebum generation within the sebocyte cells. And also from the 3D culture models, we could find out that the Cutibacterium acne induced impaired skin differentiation can be restored and enhanced by the Sevodolin applications. As you can see here, the red fluorescence and green fluorescence. Lastly, the Cutibacterium acne induced skin irritation and inflammation indicated by the increased amount of interleukin 8 was reduced by the Sevodolin applications. So all of these data are suggesting that except the direct antimicrobial activity, Sevodolin has the acne normalizing activity for these 3 points: the sebum generation, excessive sebum formations, abnormal keratinization, and inflammations. So we recruited 22 healthy volunteers with acne and asked them to use our Sevodolin containing products for 8 weeks. And through clinical study, we could find out that number of phytate, the acne symptom was reduced, relieved, and improved. And also, the skin surface lipid amount and the transapron water loss was reduced, suggesting that the sebogen excessive sebum formation was restored, and also the skin barrier function was improved after sebogen applications. And all of these in vitro and clinical data was published in Journal of Cosmetic Dermatology as a front papers in year 2021. So with these several ingredients, we can say that it is an autophagy activating peptide for prevention, reduction, and relieving of acne symptoms. So it addressed the skin barrier functions, sebum formations, and inflammatory conditions. All of these pathophysiologic factors of acne can be addressed by one several ingredients. Because it has a novel mode of actions addressing autophagy, it can provide the synergistic effect with the other conventional anti-acne ingredients, such as antimicrobials, microbial ingredients, or characteristics. And also, because it can improve the skin barrier functions and normalize the excessive sebum formations, it can help to restore the healthy hydrolipidic films without severe skin dryness. So its nickname is here, and we recommend to use for the trouble care cosmetic products or anti-greasiness cosmetics. And we recommend to use 1 to 2% for emergent products and 0.01 to 0.1% for mask shift type products. Giorgio, please.
Ok. Sì, ecco, possiamo dire insomma che seboduline è il primo peptide che va a stimolare l'autofagia all'interno dei sebociti, e si parla proprio di lipofagia per questo motivo, ecco. E l'aspetto importante di questo prodotto è anche che ha un'azione, come abbiamo visto, come ci ha spiegato Sekiu, anche antinfiammatoria e di rinforzo della barriera cutanea, che sappiamo essere per una pelle a tendenza acneica sicuramente due fattori molto importanti per mantenere sempre un'integrità di barriera. E in più anche questo attivo può essere associato ad altri ingredienti con azione sempre con target anti-acne, antimicrobici o keratolitici, per avere proprio poi un effetto globale, ecco, mirato per questa tipologia di pelle. Okay?
So the next one is for the scalp care and hair care ingredients. So the name is garb'aging, and it's a combination of two peptides, two kinds of peptide. One is for the autophagy activation, and the other one is for inducing beta-catenin proteins in hair follicle cells. So as a simple graphical summary, the garb'aging ingredients can stimulate the autophagy activations in the hair follicle dermal papilar areas of hair follicles, that's shown here. So with this autophagy activation, it can induce anti-aging and scalp skin calming activity. And also through the beta-catenin protein induction, as shown in the green portions here, it can induce follicles enlargement and ultimately the stimulation of hair cycles. So for the skin calming activity, we measure the expression of IL-8 interleukin-8 cytokines induced by the TNF-alpha treatment. As you can see here, the dose-dependent reduction of IL-8 production was observed by the garb'aging applications. And also from the hair organ elongation studies, we could see that the garb'aging treated hair organs showed the longest elongation effects after 7 days, compared to the even longer than minoxidil treated hair organs. suggesting that the follicular enlargement effects of beta-carotene, the carbonidine. So with this basic activity, we can suggest that the scalp aging symptoms such as an increased transrectal water loss or impaired skin barrier functions and the sebum generation, increased scalp sebum amount and dandruff, erythema, and ultimately the hair loss can be addressed by the garb'aging ingredients. So we recruited volunteers and asked them to use the garb'aging ingredient products for 4 weeks. And as you can see here, the transrectal water loss, the marker of skin barrier function, was improved after 4 weeks, and sebum secretion rate was also improved after 4 weeks. The dandruff symptoms addressed by the imaging analysis was also improved after 4 weeks, and skin redness was also improved after 4 weeks, suggesting that the garb'aging has a very significant anti-scalp aging activity. In addition to these clinical studies, we are also performing additional new clinical studies addressing the anti-hair loss effects of garb'aging ingredient, and those data will be available at the end of this year or then early next year. After getting those data, I will share it with the active box, and you can ask them when the data is available. So garb'aging is a 2-peptide mixture. One is autophagy activator and the other one is beta-carotene inducer. So by combining these 2 peptide ingredients, we could make a new ingredients for the addressing diverse aging symptoms, especially for the scalp skins using one ingredient. So it has a scalp skin barrier function improvement effects and alleviation of dandruff symptoms and scalp irritations. Also, it activates the normal popular cells for stimulating the hair cycles and ultimately showing the anti-hair loss effects. The composition is shown here, and its potential application is scalp care products or hair care products. And we recommend to use 1 to 2% for hair tonic, hair essence, or hair lotion products, and 0.01 to 0.1% for shampoo type products. Julia, please.
Sì, come avete visto anche qui si tratta in realtà di un'associazione di 2 peptidi, e questa associazione, come diceva Secchio, appunto consente di avere un'azione scalp aging grazie appunto allo stimolo autofagico e quindi eliminazione di tutte le sostanze reattive, e dall'altra anche un'azione però mirata al follicolo pilifero, grazie proprio all'interazione, all'induzione delle beta-catenine. Ok, thank you, Secchio.
Okay, so the next product is seraglutide for the sensitive skin symptoms, and this is the latest one as an MPD ingredient. So from the sensitive skin syndrome, there are many kinds of factors inducing sensitive skin syndrome, such as stratum corneum abnormalities, impaired skin barrier functions, increased skin reactivity, psychological stress, or dilated vasculature. So from the basic researches, we could find out that these kinds of sensitive skin related symptoms can be relieved by the autophagy activator. So we try to screen new autophagy ingredients for this sensitive skin syndrome and found out that the seraglutide, the latest MPD ingredients, can help to reduce all of these sensitive skin related symptoms. So with the many basic studies, I'm showing a few representative data. So the first one is the protection of skin activation, or per se skin allergic reactions. So the mast cell activation, the mast cell is responsible for the skin sensitization or allergic reactions. And the mast cell activation was relieved or prevented by the rallentare applications, as you can see here. And from the ex vivo human skin explant models, we also confirmed that the number of mast cells and number of activated mast cells was decreased by the rallentare applications. So activation was induced by UV radiation, and the rallentare treatment can prevent the activation of mast cells, suggesting that the skin irritation and skin sensitization by the UV radiation can be reduced by the rallentare applications. And interestingly, another benefits of rallentare was to protection of genetic damages induced by the experimental stimuli. So in this case, we choose blue light as an experimental stimuli, and the blue light exposure induced the generation of DNA damage markers, CPD, in skin cells, and rallentare treatment downregulated or prevented the DNA damage marker generations in skin cells, suggesting that rallentare has a skin meditating activity, also protecting the genetic damages. So from the clinical studies, we could confirm the sensitive skin calming effects of rallentare. As you can see here, we recruited healthy volunteers and asked them to use rallentare containing products on their back side for 2 weeks, and after that, before and after rallentare application, we applied capsaicin products on the backside to observe the sensitive skin symptoms induced by the capsaicin applications. So one of the capsaicin-induced reaction is vascular activation and the increased blood flows. And as you can see here, the increased blood flows indicated by the red colors were nearly completely prevented by the rallentare application, suggesting that the sensitive skin symptoms induced by capsaicin application was nearly completely blocked by the rallentare applications. Also, the DNA damage reducing activity was confirmed in the clinical studies. We collected the skin cells by tap stripping for the volunteers, healthy volunteers, and stained the expression of DNA damage markers in the skin cells by the staining method. And as you can see here, the red colors, the marker of DNA damage proteins decreased by the 2 weeks of rallentare applications. So the rallentare, the newly developed skin meditating peptide ingredients, is through activating the autophagy signalings in the skin cells, including mast cells, to downregulate and calm down the sensitive skin syndrome. So it has stabilized mast cell stabilizing activity for alleviating allergic responses and improve the skin barrier functions and protecting DNA damages by external stresses such as UV or blue light. So with these rallentare ingredients, I can say we can develop new cosmetic products for sensitive aging. So the premature skin aging associated with the sensitive skin syndromes. So when you have sensitive skin, then you can probably have more chance of premature skin aging because of the sensitive skin syndromes. So with this, for the sensitive aging, we can recommend the rallentare for the preventing the sensitive aging symptoms. So ink name is written here, and we recommend to use for skin soothing and calming, anti-aging, anti-local allergic responses, and also UV and proton-induced DNA damages. When we also recommend 1 to 2% for immersion and mask sheet type products. Georgia, please.
Ecco, sì, serenitide è sicuramente un attivo specifico per una pelle sensibile e sensibilizzata, proprio perché va ad agire sulle tre necessità di questa tipologia di pelle, che sono sicuramente un rinforzo della barriera cutanea, sicuramente un andare ad alleviare i sintomi associati a pelle sensibile, che sono arrossamento, prurito, e poi è in grado anche di, come ci diceva Secchio, di in realtà anche andare a riparare, ecco, i danni genetici che possono essere indotti proprio dai fattori esterni, agenti esterni, quali UV e raggio UV e inquinamento, ovviamente. Ok, adesso abbiamo concluso con gli lipid ingredient, adesso Secchio ci spiegherà in realtà altri due ingredienti innovativi di Incospharm. Please, thank you. Thank you.
Okay, this is the end of our MPD ingredients, and I'd like to introduce two more ingredients. One is for the anti-wrinkles, and the other one is for the cannabis beauty. So the first one for the anti-wrinkle is hybrid peptide bio. So it's a three-step wrinkle reduction ingredients. By the term of three steps, I can say that this hybrid peptide bio ingredient not only addressing the dermal areas for collagen synthesis, but also touching the dermal epidermal junctions and adipocyte in hypodermal dermis area as well. So the hybrid peptide bio enhance the dermal epidermal junction proteins and activate the dermal epidermal crosstalk. And through this dermal epidermal junction impact, it can stimulate the epidermal keratinocyte to stimulate the dermal fibroblast to produce more collagens. So as you can see here, lower left panel, the growth factors produced by keratinocyte is increased by the hybrid peptide bio treatment, and also the collagen 17, the core protein constituting the dermal epidermal junction, is also increased by the hybrid peptide bio treatment, suggesting that the hybrid peptide bio has a stimulating activity on dermal epidermal crosstalk. And also for these dermal areas, hybrid peptide bio treatment induced the increased synthesis and organization of collagens in dermal areas. From the ex vivo human skin explant model, we could verify that the dose-dependent increase of collagen in the dermal areas through the mass spectrum state. Lastly, for the impacts on hypodermis and adipocyte within the hypodermis area, we could observe that the stimulated adipogenesis by the hybrid peptide bio treatment in the adipocyte cell culture models. The red colors within the cell body indicate the lipid accumulations within the cells and the increased amount of lipid by the hybrid peptide bio was observed. So with this hybrid peptide bio, we have performed many kinds of clinical studies, and I'd like to show one examples. So we recruited the aged women with the facial wrinkles and asked them to use 8 weeks with the hybrid peptide bio containing products and evaluate their crow's feet, under eye, nasolabial fold, and forehead and glabellar wrinkles. And all kinds of these facial wrinkles were improved after 8 weeks of hybrid peptide bio application. And the dermal structure was also improved by the hybrid peptide bio applications. So hybrid peptide bio is a combination of hexapeptide 2 and biotin, and it has a triple anti-aging mechanism. One is stimulating the dermal epidermal crosstalk. More specifically, it strengthens the dermal epidermal junctions and also activate keratinocyte, the epidermal keratinocyte, to release more growth factors for dermal fibroblast and make them to make more collagens. And the hybrid peptide bio also stimulates the normal collagen synthesis, and lastly, it simulates the adipogenesis for skin volumizing or contouring. So it is an all-in-one anti-wrinkle ingredients for the anti-wrinkle cosmetic products. So its ink name is, as I explained earlier, the biotin and hexapeptide 2. So it is recommended for anti-aging or anti-wrinkle ingredient products. And we recommend to use 1 to 5% for immersion or essence formulas and 0.1 to 1% for mask sheet type products. Georgia, please.
Yes, just a little short comment. Sì, Hybrid Peptide Bio, quindi è un ingrediente anti-age, come abbiamo visto, ed è questa associazione tra hexapeptide 2 e biotina. La sua particolarità è proprio che va a agire su tutti e tre i livelli della cute, quindi epidermide, scusate, derma e ipoderma. Questo perché appunto stimola la produzione di collagene da parte dei fibroblasti, va a rinforzare la giunzione dermoepidermica e stimola anche la dipogenesi. Quindi ecco, è un attivo anti-aging inteso anche proprio come riempitivo. Ok, thank you. You can start with the other one.
Okay. Today's last talk is about cannabis beauty, and the ingredient name is BioPEC. So it's an abbreviation of biosynthesis phytoendocannabinoid. And we explain it as a hassle-free or regulation-free solution for the cannabis beauty. So cannabis or cannabinoid recently emerges as a very attractive target for the cosmetic applications, but due to the strict regulations for cannabis containing or hemp seed containing products, it is not possible, especially Korea and China, to use cannabis or cannabidiol for the cosmetic purposes. In order to overcome these regulatory issues, we developed new ingredients from the natural plant oils with the lipase catalyzed bioconversion process. And we manufactured the endocannabinoid mimetic compounds from the plant oil. So it does not have any cannabis-related compounds, but still it works as same to the cannabinoid or cannabidiol. So as you can see on the left upper panel, the activation of cannabinoid receptor in skin cell is confirmed by the BioPEC evening primrose or BioPEC sunflower ingredients. As the name implicates, we can make various kinds of BioPEC from different kinds of plant oils. For example, BioPEC evening primrose is made from the evening primrose oil, and BioPEC sunflower is made from the sunflower oil. And if you have any plant oil of your own interest, you can ask us to develop to your own BioPEC series. And also, same to the cannabidiol, the BioPEC shows the significant anti-inflammatory activities. So you can see that the lipopolysaccharide-induced skin irritation indicated by the increased amount of inflammatory cytokines such as TNF-alpha, interleukin 8, and interleukin 6 can be decreased or down-regulated by the BioPEC applications. And for your information, the cannabidiol or arachidonic ethanolamine, it's the endocannabinoid compounds, show nearly comparable, or even some case, the BioPEC show higher anti-inflammatory activity compared to the cannabidiol or arachidonic ethanolamines. And also, from the ex vivo studies, we confirmed that these anti-inflammatory and skin-soothing activity of BioPEC, in this case, you can see that increased expression of interleukin 8 within the epidermis induced by the chronic friction, the mechanical damages, can be downregulated by the biopackaging primrose or biopack sunflower oil applications. So in order to confirm the clinical efficacy of biopack ingredients, we performed clinical studies. So we recruited healthy volunteers with the skin troubles and measured their skin hydration and skin barrier and sebum contents on the skin surface, and also the skin erythema status using the BGRCR image analysis. As you can see here, the skin hydration was significantly improved after 2 and 4 weeks of biopack ingredient containing product applications, and the skin redness was significantly improved after 4 weeks of biopack ingredient application. Also, the skin barrier function and the sebum level improvement was observed by the biopack applications. So, because the manufacturing process of biopack utilized the enzyme catalyzed process, and it is made from the natural plant oils, biopack is an eco-friendly and sustainable ingredients. And as I explained earlier, it does not have any regulatory issues related to the cannabis or cannabidiol, because it is from the natural oils and it has the same structure to the endocannabinoid made within human body. So we also provide the customizability with the various kinds of plant oil. If any customers or clients has some plant oil of their own interest, we can try to convert it to the biopack by ourselves. And it is applicable to the skin calming and soothing products, same to the cannabidiol. So the ink name is, in case of biopack evening primrose oil, its ink name is evening primrose oil, and biopack sunflower oil is sunflower oil. And its clinical efficacy is skin soothing and calming and the skin barrier improvements. And we recommend to use 0.1 to 0.5% as an oil ingredient, because it's basically an oil. Giorgia, please.
Sì, allora ecco, i due biopack, tipologie di biopack che abbiamo a portfolio sono biopack Evening Primrose e biopack Sunflower. In realtà questa biotrasformazione, ecco, può essere effettuata, bioconversione, ecco, può essere effettuata su tutti i tipi di oli vegetali si ottengono degli oli, come in questo caso, arricchiti di fitoendocannabinoidi che agiscono poi sui recettori CBD1 delle cellule, senza però essere, ecco, dei cannabinoidi. E ovviamente gli effetti principali sono calmanti, sono lenitivi e poi sicuramente anche per quanto riguarda, ecco, il miglioramento dell'integrità di barriera. Ok, next slide, thank you please.
So this is the summary of our ingredients, and I think Giorgia can summarize it by Italian. Please.
Yes, thank. Sì, ecco qui un po' un summary, ecco, di tutti gli attivi di cui ci ha parlato Secchio in maniera molto tecnica, e sono questi che insomma vedete, quindi sia, come dicevamo, impede ingredient, quindi di stimolo dell'autofagia, sia appunto ingredienti innovativi come hybrid peptide bio per un'azione anti-aging su 3 livelli e biopack, che è l'ultimo che abbiamo visto. Quindi noi abbiamo, next slide please, thank you.
Yep.
Ok, thank you very much. Noi abbiamo concluso con oggi e vorrei innanzitutto ringraziarvi per la partecipazione numerosa anche a questo webinar. Io ovviamente rimango disponibile per qualsiasi tipo di informazione, potete scrivermi a giorgia.balbis@activebox.it. Ovviamente posso fare affidamento su SecQ per ovviamente informazioni o richieste tecniche sui prodotti. Thank you for this webinar, for your valuable support. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Buon lavoro a tutti e have a nice evening, right? Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye, bye, bye. Arrivederci, grazie.